Welcome to the InStory show. I'm Devorah Spilman, your host, and our theme this season is what does it mean to expand into a new story? And how do you stop hiding your spiritual gifts and dare to be seen for who you really are by saying yes to your soul and telling your story? So today I'm thrilled to welcome InStory expert Genevieve Westerman. Hi, Genevieve.
Hi, Devorah.
So before we dive in, I'm going to read a little bit about Genevieve. Genevieve Westerman helps visionary leaders integrate maternal wisdom with business strategy to 10x their impact, income, and inner peace while building regenerative systems that serve 7 generations. Her unique approach bridges peace building, tech and finance, and maternal wisdom, combining research from the Center for World Peace and Health with Fortune 500 systems thinking. What I just completely love about that is this integration of things that don't usually go together. Impact, income, and inner peace. So good. All right, my dear. Just like I ask everyone else, what does expanding into a new story mean to you?
That's a very juicy question. Expanding into a new story. So, for me, that means expanding consciousness, I suppose. It's like, in a way, composting, I suppose, the past and then bringing it into a new story I'm stepping into, and that is the integration of wholeness of not just body, heart, and soul, but to the environment around me. And that's the expanding into a new story that comes up for me.
No one has said that, and I love the metaphor of composting. And the fig such a that's why I love image and metaphor. Like the old is composting and allowing something new to grow, and that's improving our physical world also. Like I just love that. And your title of your interview you called Regenerative, the regenerative power of compassion. So I love for people to start by telling kind of their starting stories, their turning point stories. So where did this focus on starting with compassion come from? And then, of course, regenerative.
Well, first of all, I just want to say that I grew up in the Philippines. And when I was 15 years old, I flew to the Netherlands with my younger siblings in tow to be with my mom and my Dutch dad. And and nobody prepared me for that life, like from Philippines to the Netherlands, from Southeast Asia to Europe. And it's a totally different language and a totally different culture. And I did not know about culture shocks. I did not know about it at all. But the first few months, it was the honeymoon period. I loved everything about Holland, the food, like so many sorts of cheese and the language that I was learning, it was a new language. I love languages. And after that, though, when I integrated into the new school, when I went into the school and I really had to learn everything in Dutch, that's where the honeymoon period stopped. And 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 I was going through culture shocks, like, oh, it's not English anymore, because I grew up with the American English language actually in the Philippines, because that was taught in the Philippines. It's a bilingual country, and uh, and that's where I started, I suppose, with looking at myself from a different perspective. So I wasn't the Filipina anymore who grew up in the Philippines. I was turning into someone else, integrating into Dutch society with a new language, new and a new family, and um, and it only grew from there.
So tell us kind of what was the turning point that really launched you into this expanded awareness around compassion that you talk about?
When I was 20 years old, I left home and I started a new life in a new city. It's still in the Netherlands. And I did not have any parental safety net, so I had to figure things out on my own. And because that was the Netherlands. When you're 18, you're adult, so you're responsible for your own life basically. And so I took that to heart. I'm 20 years old and I am responsible for the choices I make. I'm responsible for my life now, so I had to make it work. But I did not know that the dorm room that I had rented is actually in the neighborhood of drug dealers, prostitution, and gangs set out to kill one another. And that would come out at night. I didn't see a lot of it, but it's just the neighborhood is it was dark, and and that's where I started questioning about suffering. Like I did not even know that I had been sheltered throughout my life until I had moved there, and I was exposed to that world that I only knew about in movies, that I had only seen in movies. And so when I started questioning God, because I was thinking like, if we are God's children, if we have God's given gifts, then why all this suffering? And then one night when I was tired of it all, and because I wanted to have a good life, that wasn't the life that I had expected. So I was throwing tantrums on the floor, like, God, why this, why that, why all this suffering? And then I was blaming everyone. I was blaming God. I was blaming family, friends, everyone. And then suddenly there was stillness. Like everything stopped. And then I heard this whisper: love embraces all, Genevieve. And that just stopped me. Like, whoa, where's that coming from? And that I would later learn would be the quest for my life. Like, what would happen? What can happen in the presence of love and understanding? And that I did not know that at the time, but that would be my compass. And that's what I had sought in leaderships, because I had worked in Fortune 500 companies in tech and finance industries. And that experience made me see people for who they are, made me curious about who is the person in front of me, what is their story.
Wow. So did you continue? So just catch us up a little bit. So how much longer did you live in the Netherlands? So you had this moment, so then you were able to handle what you saw better, but then what happened after that? Like, just take us forward some more.
Yes, so I started on the yoga path while I was still in the tech industry, and and I started learning more about humility and compassion, because that was very important for my yoga teacher, and that's what she passed on to her students. And it's not just a yoga 200-hour course, but it was more like a proper BA in yoga studies. So I was really delving into it because it was home for me. It felt like I was finally home there with my yoga teacher as well, because she was really helpful. She was also a clinical psychologist, so she knew a lot about things that I did not understand, that I wanted to understand, and she guided me well through it all, even through trauma and trauma transformation and human flourishing. And so I delved deeper into this compassion thing, and I wanted to end suffering. Basically, I wanted peace, the peacefulness that I had felt. And so I came across this Byron Katie training. The school of the work, or school for the work, a 9-day school that was in LA. So I went there, and before the school started, I I thought I'd be a tourist, and I'd go wander into Santa Monica um, malls and streets and the beach. And so I went down, I took the bus, the big blue bus, it's called. I took the bus from LAX, the hotel near LAX, and went to Third Street Promenade. And I wandered into Third Street Promenade until I came to the end, and that was the Palisades Park. And as I stood at the bluff of the Palisades Park, and I saw the mountains to the right, to the left, and the Hollywood sign to my right, and the Pacific Ocean in front of me. Everything stood still, and my mind stopped, and I had this sense of oneness, like nothing was separate. And that took me over. The awe, the wonder struck me, and also the deep reverence for Mother Earth, because it hit me that I was not a tourist in this world, that this is home. I'm not just another inhabitant on this planet. I'm a participant in this planet. So when I realized that, I I ran down the stairs down to the Santa Monica beach, and I just bowed down to the shore, to the sand, to Mother Earth, like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I did not see you like this before. And thank you. Thank you for guiding me. Thank you. Thank you for giving us this life. Thank you. So just deep reverence and deep gratitude I had felt. And just I couldn't stop. Just I was there on the beach.
And what
And
changed for you after that?
well, I didn't know until that moment that I was blind to trees and to the bees and the natural world. I was blind to it. I loved the beach, but I never really cared about the bees in the garden, or the trees along the streets. And there was this nudge to be more in nature, to do more with nature, to live more with nature. And that's how I got to the permaculture side of things. I learned about it first theoretically, and then I moved to the UK in 2014. So that realization at the beach, or at the Palisades Park, that was in 2009. Then 2014, I moved to the UK, and where I moved there, it was full of organic farms, and there's regenerative farms as well, and organic gardens. So I immersed myself in the local community, and it was a spiritual community as well. So you have all sorts of spirituality in there, and it was just, I was just in awe of the beauty of the earth, and the beauty of communities, the beauty of the human spirit, as I call it. It's like when you gather together, there's just a deep connection that emerges when you're working towards something. And it really moves me so much. And that's where it started flowing in my system, I suppose. Like, okay, there's something here that I need to do. And also that's part of my research on human flourishing that started back when I was still doing the yoga teachers training, because this is also one of the things. When I was in a class, in the prenatal yoga teachers class, I heard a profound question: how do the cells of the embryo know how and when to form the heart, the brain, the limbs, a whole human being inside the mother's womb? without instructions. How do they know that? How does that work? So yes, so all these things, it's like they were like breadcrumbs, I suppose, that I was picking up to come home to myself and to Mother Earth. And when I became a mother myself 8 years ago, it's like everything fell away, and I went deeper into this place of expansion, but it was more an invitation to go deeper into compassion, especially because I had complications during pregnancy and after birth, and it really asked me to be more compassionate toward myself, first of all, because it wasn't a perfect pregnancy that I had hoped. Because after all, I had my training, prenatal yoga teachers training. So I was supposed to get this right, but it did not feel like it was like that. So that was one of the things that brought me deeper into radical, what I call radical compassion, because I had nothing else but to go there. Because if I was to go in my thinking, like, like worrying, like why didn't this happen, it just wouldn't work. It did not work, and my baby would feel that. And I was able to nurse her for nearly 2.5 years, and that also required a lot of radical compassion.
So, all right. So this all has led to this integrative coalescing of the visionary work that you're doing, around nourishing conversations and regenerative compassion. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about, you know, leap us ahead again a little bit about how this is shaped into the work you're doing now.
Yes. So having lived in three different continents and four different countries, and having lived and worked with different people from different backgrounds and different cultures, and my curiosity about other cultures and other languages, because each person I had met had a unique story, and I was just so fascinated by everyone's story, and I was learning about other cultures in that manner. And it's not just a personal story. I saw throughout the 30 years that I have lived in multicultural environments, I saw that it's a person's story is not just a person's story. It is tied into the cultural story, and that's how I was learning about other cultures that I didn't even know about, that I wasn't even able to visit, but I was learning through every conversation, every person that I had met. And but also I noticed this in different fields, because I had worked in different industries, and there's an I don't know if I am allowed to say this, but I noticed that there's a lot of orphaned hearts walking around. And by that, I mean, like, there are untended wounds, and that show up in conversations. And having been in the yoga world, and also the practice of compassion, I did that deliberately. Um, I noticed the different levels of consciousness that we that we come from when we are in conversations. And sometimes that shows up in work, and when you think you're being clear with someone, and they are taking it like a criticism. It's not They're not in the present moment.
Right.
And basically, it's something is being triggered inside that they probably don't know about, and if you're not aware of that, then you think that they're going against you, and then this becomes a defense attack. And then before you know, it's like it becomes a big thing. Well, actually, it's just there's a wound there, maybe from childhood, or maybe there's something going on in the relational sphere at home. It's usually something from childhood or from the relationships at home that we bring into work. And so and I had noticed that we do that, we go through the 5 levels of consciousness. And
Do you want to say what those are just so we get a sense of it?
yes. So
Okay.
the first level is the combative dialogue, as I call it. It's when we're thinking in right or wrong. Like kids go, No, you did it. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. No, I didn't. So that's a combative, the defense attack, right or wrong. And then there's the polite dialogue, when you just saying, yes, I understand, but then actually you don't quite understand. You just don't want to disturb the peace and ask questions, because you don't want to disrupt the peace, or you think you'd get in trouble if you ask
Mhm.
questions. That's the polite. That's the level 2. And then there's the level 3. It's the curious dialogue, when you you get actually curious about somebody else's perspective. What are they actually saying? My voice is excuse me. um moving from combative to polite to curious, when you actually get curious. And then there's the level 4 is the generative dialogue. So it's your best thinking, my best thinking together. And when you merge that, something else emerges. And it's like a collective wisdom coming together and forming something else that no one person alone can come up with. And that's what I see as the exquisite beauty of the human spirit. Something else comes through
Mhm.
that we don't know that it would come through until that moment. And then the 5th one is the regenerative or transformative dialogue. It's when you're in a meeting, you're in a group of people, and then everybody has their own wisdom sharing, and something else comes through altogether as well. And then it changes people's lives, it changes people's hearts.
Mhm.
And that's the level that is rare.
Yes, but that's such a beautiful description because it's so easy to notice, "Oh, yeah, I remember when I was there," or, "Oh, we were there," like, because even in us, like, we have conversations and we feel stuck in sometimes at one of these levels or the other with somebody. So, is part of your so maybe talk a little bit about your free gift because I think that's gonna help people a little bit to see where are you with this?
Right. Yes. So I created the dialogue maturity assessment to assess where you are in your level of consciousness when you're going through a conversation. And it's not a static thing that, okay, I'm stuck in level 1. No, we navigate through different consciousness throughout the day. And when I'm hangry, for example, I can get to level 1 easily, like, I don't want anyone right now, so don't talk to me right now. I can get into that. But and I noticed that, okay, so but when I notice that before it happens, I can just easily say, okay, I'm hungry right now and I need to eat first, so take care of my body first, my sustenance, and then I can attend to your needs. So that would be the curious level, the level 3. And that's included in the dialogue maturity assessment, that you can do the test. Oh, well, the assessment is not a test, it's an assessment, and you can see where you are. um,
It's so helpful to have somebody say things distinctly separated out because sometimes when you're just in it and it's all a mush. And when you can't see it, you can't change it.
right.
right?
Right.
Because isn't that part of what you do with nourishing dialogues and helping people is helping them see which kind of level they're in, and then how do you, if it's the lowest level, you might just need to eat, but the other levels are not going to be you just need to eat.
Right. Exactly. Yes. And that's the beautiful part of having these dialogue facilitations and um team. It can also, a team cannot be at home, like we say at home, teamwork is teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah. We need
So
teamwork at home too.
yeah. And it depends also on the situation. So again, it's about being aware of where you are on your level of consciousness, and seeing where you are. And it's not being about being perfect, but just being present
Mhm.
to to yourself and to other people. And if, for me, setting limits is also very important, or setting boundaries, as it's called. Because if you know that your level of energy is really low, then you might want to set limits for yourself, like, okay, I cannot engage right now, instead of
Mhm.
pushing through, like, okay, I just have to go through this, push through, and then I'll be fine. But then, when you go into a conversation with that kind of energy, when you're low of energy already, and then you need to listen well, and pay attention to everyone's needs, and then it's kind of harder to do that. And then before you know it, you're reacting instead of responding.
No, it's so brilliant because these are the things that we go into automatic on.
Yes.
Like we just think this is just what's happening. And for so many things, if you can take that step out and use someone's ability to see to help you see what was invisible, it gives you so much more choice,
Right.
right?
They're right there. Yes, exactly.
So when you get the free gift, you're going to get to go through an assessment, and you're going to get to apply this concept to yourself and your situation. And and you'll be able to connect with Genevieve if you want an outside eye on this, because that's her genius, but it's also her genius to give you the way to see it, right? Because in the end, we want to improve the way we see things so that we can make choices that are just going to lead to that more elevated consciousness, because then everybody feels better, right?
Right. Yes. That's how we start creating the world that we want to live in.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, I'm so with you on this. All right, my dear, leave us with a few last thoughts as we wrap up.
Oh my word.
Just a few last
Yes.
thoughts to leave us with of what's
um
important to you, because we're almost out of time, so we have to wrap
yes.
up.
Right. Yes. Well, I truly deeply care about human connection. I mean, there's nothing more beautiful than having conversations that connect us deeply with each other, through our stories, through love, through grief, through everything that we go through as human beings on this beautiful planet. And I think that the deeper we connect, the deeper we can see, the clearer we can see that we're really interconnected. That's a kinship that we cannot deny, because it's just there, and we're just tapping into that.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I think there's a lot of places where we are just in old habits, like we're just in a habitual behavior, and if someone helps you see it, you can shift out of it. And
Right.
so much about in-story work is all about how do you shift out of this old and start to shape something new, which is what you're doing. And I find it just inspiring, um, and encouraging, right? Because it's going to be a better place if we can get better at this.
That's the idea.
Yeah. All right, Genevieve, thank you so much. Grab her free gift, see what it reveals to you, share it with us in our Facebook group. And as I always say in farewell, remember to go out in the world, share your story, live your purpose, and be a blessing. Bye, folks.